marchado para no volver. El tren de la mañana llega ya sin él. Es solo un corazón con alma de metal. En esa niebla gris que envuelve la ciudad. Su banco está vacío, Marcos sigue en mí. Le siento respirar, pienso que sigue aquí. Ni la distancia enorme puede dividir dos corazones y un solo latir. Y quizás si tú piensas en mí, si a nadie tú quieres hablar, si tú te escondes como yo de todo y si te vas
pronto a la cama sin cenar, si aprietas fuerte contra ti la almohada y te echas a llorar, si tú no sabes cuánto mal te hará la
Wacky Wednesday.
It's Wacky Wednesday con El Bumper.
Unfiltered, the real deal. No pre-planning, no chingaderas. Straight up from the bill.
Wacky Wednesday.
B-Town's very own.
It's Wacky Wednesday con El Bumper.
Here's your host, Bumper Gomez.
And we are live and in color. Welcome to another episode of Bumper's Wacky Wednesday, live here from San Antonio from the Wacky Wednesday studio. Man, tonight is going to be epic. To say the least, it's going to be epic for me. Maybe not for you, but for some of you, I know it is, because my phone's been blowing up all week, or really since last Saturday when I posted the poster. But just super excited about tonight's show. If this is your very first time watching Bumper's Wacky Wednesday, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The show is absolutely free. Doesn't cost you a penny. All we ask you to do is one thing, and that's to share it. If you're watching us live on YouTube or you're watching us live on Facebook, you know, all you got to do is hit share. You might make somebody's day. Maybe somebody doesn't know about the show. They come across your page and see the show. So, yeah, just share it for us. We'd greatly, greatly appreciate it. And without further ado, man, my guest tonight, all the way from the Rio Grande Valley, by way of Edinburgh, by way of Mexico City, no? Sometimes. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight, the legend himself, Mr. Bobby Pulido.
How you doing? Good to be here, man.
Man, bro,
we finally made it happen.
we're gonna tell the story.
It's been a long time.
We're definitely gonna tell the story. But to everybody watching again, man, thank you guys for tuning in. You could be doing 100 different things, but you're right here hanging out with me and Bobby Pulido tonight. And we both greatly, greatly appreciate it. And Bobby, before we go any further, thank you from the bottom of my heart, dude, for making your presence on my show. And I know you don't see it, but people like yourself, sometimes when they come on shows like this, it does a thing called solidify, right? It solidifies the show. And you're one of those guys that I've been waiting for a long time. And you promised me, and I'm here, guys, to tell you guys, Bobby Pulido keeps his promises.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. Thank you. Thanks for the invite, man. I'm glad we could make it work, you know.
Yeah.
I'm on vacation now. So I had a little trip up here to San Antonio to see a buddy of mine in Floresville, Eric Cortina, who also has a big YouTube channel on shooting.
Uh-huh.
And so I came up and did his show this morning, and I said, let me make it a trip.
You knock out everything at one time.
Exactly.
I got you. No, man, I figured you were gonna do some kind of. It has to do with something with hunting, bro. I mean, since I've known Bobby, I think one of the very first conversations I have we were just talking about it off air, was way back in the state of Florida, and you were just talking about rifles and, you know, scopes and all kinds of stuff. And, you know, I was an active duty Marine at the time, and it was just it was cool to see how enthusiastic you were about shooting. And here I am like, man, I hate going to the range. I hate being a cop. And you're like, shit, I'll pay good money to do these things.
Oh man, that's that's I got two pastimes, and it's shooting, and not so much hunting as much anymore. I still do, but mainly shooting. I target shoot at long range, and then I like to play golf. I like those two things. That's it.
I got you. We got. What are we doing here? So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see tonight, I told Bobby I'm a little nervous, and Bobby's like, "Don't be." It's not because it's Bobby. I'm nervous because I don't have nothing to do. I got my good friend John decided to come. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna help you guys out," and so I got a producer tonight, Bob, just for you, bro.
That's awesome, man. Gotta delegate, bro.
So if it works tonight, Bobby, if it works, I think we got a guy. We're gonna hire him. We're gonna get this guy on. I don't know. He said he works for pizza and whiskey. Okay. So that's an easy fix right there, man.
Like, I think there'll be people just to do it for whiskey.
Yeah. Here you go. Bobby, so, again, welcome to the show, man. And, I've been doing the show for, in March, it'll be 4 years. And it's truly dedicated to our cultura, to Tejano music. Right, 95%, because I do support a lot of Chicanitos that are out there doing the country music scene, right? And they're doing the Texas country stuff. They come through here, and we get great involvement from those guys. So we're going to continue to bring them. But for the most part, a lot of Tejano, and one thing that I really want to talk to you about tonight is one thing that you're very passionate about is our cultura.
It's a big passion of mine. I think that as parents, I got 4 boys, and they got to know where they come from, and they got to know what paid the bills and put them through college and put them to school, and did all that. Because when I was going to college here in San Antonio at St. Mary's, I had some fraternity brothers that would kind of make fun of me a little bit, like, hey, the Tejano Lord, but they, it was kind of like, it kind of bothered me. Because I was always wearing my boots. I didn't wear tennis shoes when I was in college.
You always wore boots.
I wore boots all the time, dude. I wore boots like my son Remy.
As he picks up his shit.
I only wore my boots, and they kind of rag on me and
right.
Yeah, but those fuckers were the first ones that asked my dad to come and do a fundraiser, right? And my dad was very gracious enough to do it, right? And so I've always been proud of where I come from, right? Like and the culture and the music. That's always been something that I'm passionate about. And I think that I've been blessed also to be from an area which is in the valley, in 956, where we have such a huge farm system of young talent. And my nephew plays guitar and sings in a conjunto in an Idea Academy. And there was 2 accordion players, right? So almost all the high schools
have a conjunto program.
They have a conjunto program. They have a band and they play, and that farm system is what's keeping it alive. And I think that's awesome, man. I think I'm blessed to be from the valley, and I'm glad that the people in the valley are promoting that to the young kids. And that's where you see a Grupo Frontera, a Secreto, and all these other bands that are up and coming. And there's going to be more, right? There's going to be more that are coming because they're learning young, learning the instruments, and more importantly, they're proud of where they come from.
That's you brought up the word Frontera, and lately in Bumper's world, that's been just you bring up the band name and it causes controversy amongst our own raza. Why? Right? And I'll tell you why. Because, I said, hey, you know what? One day I saw the intro. That they used, right? And they show Mas, they show Palominos, they show all, right? The people that they got their influences from. And, I called them Tejano. And right when I did that, man, everybody came out there like, they're not Tejano. To me, it's music, right? They're Tejanos, yes, they're from Edinburgh, right? Dude, but the music to me sounds Tejano.
They went to Pepe's office, Pepe Garza's podcast, TV show, whatever.
Yeah.
And they asked them, ¿Ustedes qué onda? ¿Qué son? And they said, somos Tejanos. Because that's technically, they were born in the valley from Mexican roots. Well, what's a Tejano? Isn't that qualify you to be a Tejano?
I mean,
but all that stuff that you're talking about comes from San Antonio.
Oh,
it's true.
Bobby, you're gonna start over.
It does come from that. San Antonio is the biggest offender when it comes to dictating what's Tejano and what's not Tejano. And because it's the heart of Tejano music or whatever. Right. But to me, it's like I don't think I don't think they can lay claim to that, bro. And I lived here for 4 years, and I love San Antonio. It was my second home, right? I love this city, but you can't also just. To me, we gotta be inclusive. We gotta be somebody that welcomes everybody, right? And if not, we become Motown. Motown back in the day was music from, just from a certain area, an era, and Berry Gordy and all that. They kind of kept it that way, and they kind of kept everybody away. And then they just kind of languished and didn't progress.
And went away.
It just became a little niche thing, and we shouldn't do that. I don't think. I think if anything, the industry should embrace a Grupo Frontera. Should have embraced back in the day a Grupo Intocable that was a star band, and to this day is our number one. They're our Beatles. They're the number one guys in this industry, and Ricky speaks English just like I do, and Ricky's born in Zapata, and he's as Tejano gets, but they shunned him. I mean,
they shunned him in the beginning, and so he kind of.
But they went, okay, see you later, and to me it's a detriment to the industry. I don't think we should be inclusive. We should be
embracing everything that's us.
Correct. I mean, listen, dude. I'm old enough to remember there was a band called La Sombra from Chicago. If you embrace those dudes from Chicago and they were embraced, why the hell can't you embrace a group from the border that's on our side in Texas?
That's a great point right there. That's a great point right there.
Give me a break. Yeah. No, that's just wrong.
Sorry. And that's why I was really looking forward to this interview, because a lot of people think that we don't, when we do these interviews, that we don't go and do our research, right? And when I'm not doing the show, I'm always trying to learn more about the industry, right? I'm not a musician. I'm not a radio disc jockey. I haven't been doing this for years. I'm just a fan of Tejano music, right? But it's part of my life. Like every day, I engulf myself into this, right?
That's great.
And I've learned about you, again, like I said in the beginning, how passionate you are about our culture. And that's why I was really looking forward to this interview, because I think people really don't know that about you.
Yeah,
I mean, they've seen little clips here and there.
I took a little flack back in the day because I said in an interview that I didn't consider my music to be 100% Tejano, because I'm proud to be a Tejano, right? And I said that in the speech with the Latin Grammy. I am so proud of my culture and my roots to be a Tejano. But remember, there's a Tejano memorial at the Capitol, right? But it's not about the music. It's about us as people.
Who we are.
It's about who we are. And I always said that I didn't really, Tejano music as a music got its name as a music from the Tejano Music Awards. They're the ones that popularized it. But I always said, if you call something Tejano, it's like like in New Mexico, they have their own New Mexico music. It's like a netherworld. Like I was driving.
But is it similar to Tejano music?
It's more like old school and real simple, right? They kind of just put like three chord harmonies. Mm-hmm. It's not very progressive. It's kind of simple, and it sounds really like an old school style. But they don't like Tejano because they have their own music, and Tejanos don't consume New Mexico music because we have our own music. And what happens is, when we call it that and we regionalize it, then it becomes harder for us to sell ourselves outside of the state to another state that goes, well, we call it something else. And so I always felt like it was probably mislabeled. We should have found something else. It used to be Chicano.
Right.
It used to be Chicano. And then it kind of transitioned into Tejano. So I wasn't so married with the title as far as the music, but I am very married to the culture of who I am. And I'll tell you, I'll never forget. I went to school here. I went to school here, and to college, and then I did my thing. 10 years later, Bumper, I came back, and I never forget. I went to an oyster bake. We did an oyster bake because I went to St. Mary's, so I would periodically.
Of course, you come back to the oyster bake.
Yeah, go do the oyster bake, and I'll never forget. Like, we drove through downtown, and I'm always real observant, looking at people. Right, I'm always looking at people, listening. Car drives by, I want to hear what they're listening to.
Right.
I'm always just trying to get a feel for what are people wanting right now? What are they doing, right? And I was in shock, dude, because we drove downtown and I saw a bunch of young people that were dressed like hip hop artists or hip hop people, right?
This is when you were in college.
No, this was after 10 years after college.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I lived here and I kind of consumed it. And then I started seeing, I'm like, man, all the young kids, they don't dress like raza. They dress like another raza.
Right.
And I thought to myself, maybe I'm wrong, right? But they probably consume another brand of music, another style of music that is not ours, right? And you can just tell by when they dress, right? Because it's a hard thing to look past. You look, okay, man, like your baggy pants and the cap and the jersey and all you got it, and I think that in the big cities is kind of gone away. That's something special in the valley that I'm so proud is that we don't have that. They're raza, bro. They're raza and they're proud of it. And
Puro botas.
And you hear them driving down the street and they're listening. They're banging that music. It's different, dude. It's a different type of culture. And I'm not hating on anything. I'm not passing judgment. It's just Bobby's making a circle around 210, man. I'm feeling trapped. No, sir. Because the same applies in Houston, right? It's just you start seeing it. We haven't gotten that. We still kept our
roots.
We still keep the roots. Then you see it with the conjuntos and things like that.
Yeah, like I like to look. Sometimes I always refer to the the high schools when you see they do the videos of the pep rallies and stuff.
Yes.
And all the kids are dancing on the gym floor. It's a conjunto playing. They're not playing hip hop music through speakers.
That's right.
Right.
That's
and
right.
It makes me feel real orgulloso. I'm like, hell yeah, dude,
yes,
that's awesome. You know what I mean?
That makes me happier than you could imagine.
I see what you're saying, Bob. And, I was having a conversation with a good friend of both of ours.
Okay.
El Muñeco.
Oh.
Fernando Hernandez from KIWW way
right.
back in the day. Un saludos to Fernando.
Is he still in Houston?
He's in Houston. He's in Houston.
Yeah.
And we were talking, man. And, last week on the show, I had a kid named Miguelito Hernandez.
Okay.
He just turned 13 years old. He's a drummer, and he's drummed for some good bands, local bands. He's played, and he loves Tejano music.
Awesome.
But I said, what's wrong? Why can't we draw you? Why can't we draw these young kids from 13 to 25? Why is Tejano music being shunned by this age group? Right.
You asked a 13-year-old.
I asked a 13-year-old kid that. So you know what he told me?
I want to know.
He said, because you guys don't let us go in and watch the shows. And it led me to think.
Well, that's true.
I started thinking about this.
Yeah.
When we were growing up.
Rosedale Park.
Right. Well, there were festivals and stuff, but I remember growing up in Beeville as a 12, 13-year-old, I could go buy my ticket and I could go into the El Dorado Convention Center and I'd walk around with two big old black X's, but I could see La Sombra, I could see La Fiebre, I could see Maz, I could see all these groups.
Yeah, that's a good
and it
point,
would be packed, and we would dance with our friends, with our girls, not girlfriends, but friends that were girls. Everybody would show up with their parents. If their parents didn't go, you'd show up anyway, and it was somewhere to hang out, and you would dance, and we would enjoy the music, right? If you stop to think about that, what nightclubs do that now? It's 21 and up.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of nightclubs.
Well, okay, you do festivals.
Yeah, I mean, it just yes.
But what I'm saying,
I'm not saying I won't do a nightclub, but I hardly do. I hardly, right, Tony?
Mostly do. But what his point was, what I'm saying, what his point was is it made me open my eye. This kid's right.
Well, that's a part of it.
It's a part of it.
But I think there's another part.
Let's go for it.
I think there's another part, right? Because I've gone throughout the years to schools to go talk to kids, and you see a very common thread. The common questions, the two most common questions that kids have are, what do you drive, and how much money do you make? Right? That's what they ask you? They don't ask about anything else, dude. They don't ask about your experience as a musician, what it feels like to be on stage. What do you make and what do you drive? And if you look at it, the other culture that we've mentioned promotes gold teeth and diamonds and fast money and MTV Cribs, and they'll show you houses that aren't even theirs. And the young people are looking at that and going, I want that. Because a younger culture, let's be honest, they don't want to pay their dues. They're very impatient and they want everything now. And you don't build a career on this. I always tell them, it's not important what I make. I do okay, right? It's not important what I drive. What matters is that I do what I love, and that's it, right? And there's so much more to my life than just saying, what do I drive and what do I make? That's why I've never... You can say, you can hold me to this. I've never posted anything that's presumptuous on social media about anything materialistic at all. I never have.
Wow.
And maybe I'm doing it wrong because I'm not showing them what could happen or how much money you could make, but I still don't think that would be me. And I don't think I'm helping the situation.
Well, now that you say that, you bring, I mean, it shines a light. You're exactly right. I mean,
we don't have flair.
We don't. We don't. And that was the other thing, that he had mentioned was like, I like to see what the guys, and now I think that's what he said. Like, I want to see what they're wearing. I want to see the show. I want to see the lights. I want to see, like, they love the production part of shows as well. So, I just took that in. I was just like, man, this kid's 13 years old and he's already, he's
awesome.
seen that.
I mean, Joey Jimenez was there.
Yeah, exactly.
He was just, he was a kid playing with excelencia, and that it was a phenom. That everybody went, that guy's bad.
Shout out to Joey Jimenez, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to JMZ in the house. Bobby, so you grew up in South Texas in the Rio Grande Valley, and we all know that you're the son of Tejano legend Roberto Pulido.
That's a real legend.
Real legend.
When you introduce me, you call me a legend. I'm not used to that, bro. I promise you. Thank you very much. But in my eyes, the real legend is my dad.
Bobby, 29 years. Come on, bro.
I know, bro. But in my mind, that's the real legend.
So and speaking of your dad, I did a show in the Rio Grande Valley. I took Bumper's Wacky Wednesday on the road.
You're right. And he told me, he texted me today, tell Bumper I said hi.
Yeah,
yes,
man.
Yes, so.
You know what? Your dad gave me so many, he was just, that was the highlight of my whole, I went down there, I did that show, I did the hashtag PBT show with Rock and Roll James, and I did a radio interview on Super Tejano with Super Mario and Mando, and it was just a good time. But the highlight of my trip to the Valley, one being that it was the first time I ever done this show live in a public place with crowd, right? And your dad was part of it, right? Part of that history for me. But the best part of the day was when I got a phone call from your pops, and he was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "I was just finishing breakfast. I want you to come hang out with me." So I went. I went to his pad. I went to the shop and hung out in the back with them, dude. The whole time, Bobby, like I was just. We talked about anything and everything, but for me, again, remember, I'm not a musician. I'm not a radio guy. I'm not a TV guy. I'm just a fan of the music.
You are a TV guy.
Okay, now we're a TV guy.
They're watching us on TV, bro.
Hey, you're right.
Yeah.
But to be in his presence and to be somewhere where he was relaxed and himself, for me, was just everything, bro. Taking a little ride in the truck with them from the room up front to the just being able to speak with somebody of his stature in the music business and just talk about anything, everything was super awesome. He's I told my tios couldn't believe me, right? Yeah. I took a picture with me and him in the truck, and my tios are just freaking out. And I said, man, you wouldn't believe how humble this guy is.
Super.
Right? Super. I mean, it was like being around my tios. Like
too humble.
Too humble?
Too humble sometimes. Yeah. Too
really?
humble.
He forgets that he's Roberto Pulido?
Yeah, he does.
Speaking of humble,
I say that, and I don't mean it as criticism, but if you know, back in the day, right, it was always 2 sets. The club owners always want you to do 2 sets so they could sell more liquor, right? So I would play an hour and then take a break and then play another hour, right? Years ago, I said, no more, done. I'm doing 1 show, an hour and a half, and I'm done. But my dad sometimes, many times, would get off the stage after the first set, go out into the crowd and have a beer with them. Now, we could say that's really cool and everything, but I tell him, Dad, their whole thing is, I want to watch you, but when you go drink a beer with them, you're just...
You become one of them.
You take away the mystique about being the artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my dad just never saw it that way. As like, I'm an artist, so I'm gonna, hold myself and reserve myself. He would just go out there, hey, shake hands with them and everything. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's a nice gesture and it's cool, but it loses the mystique, I think.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No. I'm glad you said that. This was a subject 2 shows ago.
That's my opinion.
I had a fan. The last show of the year, I did a panel of Tejano fans.
Yeah.
They couldn't be nothing to do with the industry.
Okay, great.
And I talked to them and say, hey, what are we missing? What do we need to bring? Why don't you want to pay this money? We asked all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But one of them was that. Nowadays, a lot of the Tejano artists are very accessible. Right? They're accessible through this. They're accessible like at a concert, like you said. They can perform and then they're gonna go to the bar and have a beer and you go. It's not like back in the days where Bobby's getting off a bus and you got 20 dudes around you. Get on the stage, do what you gotta do, and VIP, pay a little extra, you got a picture, and then you're gone.
Let's leave this genre out of the mix. There is no other successful genre that does that. Not one. And I don't care if it's rap, hip hop. I don't care if it's Taylor Swift. I don't care if it's Juan Gabriel back when he was alive. I don't care Luis Miguel. I do not care what genre. Nobody does that. Nobody. Unless you could tell me.
So Bob, what are we saying? Are we saying that we gotta link up all the artists and say, hey, no more?
No.
You gotta stay backstage.
Listen,
you can't come up front.
Listen, man. Many shows, I will, after the show, they'll line up people and I'll sign autographs and take pictures. But there's a time and a place. And it's not just, hey, I'm in the crowd just hanging out and doing. No, there's a line. You take the picture, you say hi, and then you go to the next person. That's the way it happens. So there's a happy medium. It's not like, I don't say like, oh, just don't get close to the people. No, not at all. But there's a way to do it.
I mean, I've seen you. I've been to many of your shows, and that is what you do. Those are complete facts right there.
There's a happy medium where you can say, hey, they say, I got to shake my favorite artist's hand, got to take a picture. That's what it's all about. I'm not saying don't do that.
But I don't want you
to go have a beer with them.
Intermingle with them,
right? You're working.
Right.
But I'm not saying that. Just my dad's not the only one that does it. A lot of other people do it.
I see it every week.
Yeah, and so it's it's not my cup of tea. I don't think. I disagree with that.
But some things I like, Bobby, that, especially like here in San Antonio, say if it's like during a weekday, a Wednesday or Thursday, and somebody ends up having there's a holiday or whatever, and they have a thing, and all the artists come out to support that artist, right? And they're not the artist performing, but they're in the crowd, and they're, you know what I mean?
I've done that. Bumper, I mean, that's all good, right? But if you're there if you're there to support the event, but you're not going to sing, then you are there as a normal person. But if people pay to go see you and see you in concert, I mean, there's so much to what I'm saying, right? Because you're right though. You're right. It also matters how often they see you, right? Because if if you come in a lot and you're here and there around locally and they see you like that, guess what? The effect wears off. It just does.
You just become
local. Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
And to me, I don't think that we should. I mean, it didn't work for me.
I got you. Speaking of local, right? You know,
Yes.
Bobby Pulido, like, you know, tonight's interview, like if you guys are watching, Bobby's done a lot of interviews. If you haven't gone on YouTube, he has done great interviews.
I talk too much, man. I talk
He's
too
done
much.
some of the interviews. The interviewer wasn't like me; they're not that great, right? You know what I mean? But the interviews were awesome. Some of the stuff you said. So I kind of like don't want to go over the same things that people already know about you.
That's cool.
But the fact is that you were born and raised in South Texas under the umbrella of Roberto Pulido,
Right.
Right. And you did your dad almost like push you into being a musician?
Are you kidding? My dad, no. He did at the beginning as a father because my dad, dude, I've never said this. This is something, back when I was young, I was in junior high and I wanted to play football. I love sports. I wanted to play football. I joined the football team and joined the band. And I don't know how they do it nowadays, but I had some really tough coaches and band directors that were jealous and say, I want you here.
One or the other.
Yes, but they couldn't make you do it. So, you know, it was like, well, you know, he's also, I go to football practice. My dad made me quit the football team, dude. My dad told me, I'll never forget, and I was so pissed at my dad. And I came back and he goes, son, you're done with football. I go, what do you mean? It's not.
7th grader?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm a 7th grader, man. It's my choice. Like, and I was a backup quarterback. I wasn't a starter.
Yeah, but you were a quarterback.
I was the backup quarterback. And my dad goes, son, your father's a musician. Your uncles are musicians. Your mom's father was a musician. Her brothers are musicians. You're not going to be a great athlete. You're a musician. He goes, you're staying in the band. And that's it. Like, end of discussion, dude. Like, and made me quit the football team. And you know what?
That's got to be crushing for a 7th grade kid, man.
Oh, dude, I cried.
You live with band, you're like, man, I don't want to be here. I want to be in the football.
I cried, but you know what? Dad was right. He was right. So like for me, my dad pushed me onto music, but he didn't want me to pursue a musical career. He wanted me to be a lawyer, because that's what I wanted to be. I studied political science, and I wanted to be a lawyer. Right. Yeah. And eventually run for office and be a politician. That's what I've always, I was a Texas boy stater when I was young. And so when I told him I wanted to sing, and this is true story, Bumper, my dad told me, you're not good enough. And my dad told me with these words, mijo, te falta mucho. Te falta mucho. He goes, and it didn't anger me. It didn't even disappoint me. It lit a fire under my ass that I was going to prove him wrong.
You made me quit the football team. That's the last thing you do. I'm going to show you now.
I'm going to show you that and I told him, Dad, I'm a winner. They tell me I can't do things, and I always prove people wrong, and I can do it. I said, and I know I'm not that good, but I'll get better. And truth be told, Bumper, it's so funny, guys. You do these kinds of shows, and there's always these keyboard warriors that come in and put their comments.
Oh, that's every week.
He's an overrated singer. He was never that good. And my thing, I've never said this, right? Because I never have a chance to give a rebuttal. And I'm sure not going to give him the time of day as far as responding. But if success was determined by only talent, right, then every participant of The Voice would be the biggest star because they win. But how many winners of those contests, American Idol, The Voice, there are some, but the majority
they don't do nothing.
They end up not doing anything. So there is more to it in success than just singing. I know that I'll never be a Jay Pettis. Jay Pettis is a monster singer, right? And I respect him greatly. But I'll never forget, I saw an interview with Garth Brooks back in the day. And he came out and said, I'm not a great singer. He goes, I can't do what George Strait does, so I compensate for other areas. And I think, arguably, Garth probably had an even more successful career as far as making money than George. Even though George had jingles on number ones, and George is my favorite country star singer, but Garth Brooks is Garth Brooks.
For sure.
You know, to go do a residency in Vegas, not many people can do that, right? So I always saw that, and I was like, you know what? You don't have to be the best singer. Pick great songs, have great arrangements, get into the people's heads with that melody, to where when they're walking out there and they're driving and they go to work, they can't get that song out of their head. That's how I win. That's how I do what I want to do.
You. That's true. I mean, if you stop to think about what you just said, I mean, all of that is true. Yeah. I think
you can disagree with me.
No.
You can disagree with me. I welcome anybody that would have a different point of view. Like, I don't expect you to agree with me, bro. You can disagree with me, and we can talk about this in front of the people, and I'm perfectly willing to talk about it.
But the fact that your dad, I'm still in shock that your dad, I'm still stuck on he made you quit something, right?
He did.
But you use that as like, you could have been like, you know what? Like some kids do. You don't want me to do this? Something that I love to do? Well, I'm not going to do what you want me to do.
That's not me.
That's not you, right? Your first instrument, Bob?
Saxophone.
The saxophone.
Saxophone. I played all 4 of them in high school.
So to me, the hardest instruments as a fan outside looking in,
there's actually 5, but I played 4.
Would be the saxophone, the accordion. To me, I guess those 2 would be because of all the movement of the fingers and it just looks like it's very chaotic, very hard instrument to do.
The accordion is the hardest instrument. It's the hardest instrument to play. You know, a saxophone will have a logic like a keyboard does or like a guitar. An accordion has no logic. And it's got, this button doesn't necessarily go higher. It's different. You got to learn that button. And then if you push it in, it's a different note.
You push it out, it's a different note.
Dude, accordion players are tremendous musicians, in my opinion. And I'd have to give the nod to them.
To the accordion?
To the accordion. And I will tell you, and vocalists. Because...
Really?
Dude, if you're an accordion player...
So if you don't know how to play no music, but you can sing, that's...
Dude, how many bands have a front man that's good? Look, I'll tell you this. You could have the flu, you know, be sick as a dog, and you can play any instrument. You can play sax, accordion, but go sing good.
Yeah.
Because your instrument is your voice, and your voice depends on your health, and all of and you bring it. Singing is a lot more emotional than any other any other instrument. You're really bearing your emotions out there. And that's what makes it so hard to sing. I mean, my son, who's here right now, at one time wanted to be a singer. Got up on stage and said, this is not for me. Immediately. Said, this is tough. Because it's not the same to sing in the shower or to sing at a karaoke. That's different.
Yeah.
Get up on stage, dude, where they're just scrutinizing you and scrutinizing every little note that comes out of your mouth. And not only that, how you look. Está medio panzoncillo. Oh, está medio...
Hey, Bob, easy, bro.
No, I'm talking about me, bro. I'm talking about me.
Well, when you were talking about that, like, you know, how you look and stuff, like, that has a lot to do, you know what I mean, with people going out to see. If you look good...
I don't agree with that.
You don't?
I don't agree with that. You know, when I first signed with Capitol, they signed another kid that was right around my age, okay? And this guy was a male model, right? Ran track and athlete, and, you know, he sang okay. He didn't suck, right?
Tejano artist.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot the guy's name.
Oh, I was about to say, I'm ready. Like if he's been hanging around or something.
I forgot that. I really did. But it was like, looks are not everything. You know what's everything, Bumper? Charisma. Charisma matters. As an artist, if you're up on stage, you have that fourth wall that you got to bust. And that busting is so many artists get up on stage and they're singing and really nobody's engaged with them. Nobody's really like feeling them. You can just listen to them.
Because they don't have that charisma.
Yeah, and it's not looks. It's not looks, man.
I don't, Bobby. I mean, there's a lot of people. Okay, people are already putting Jelly Roll. Like, you know what I mean? There's the big dude. Jelly Roll.
Yeah, Jelly Roll.
I get it. Chris Stapleton.
My dad, dude, my dad has charisma.
Oh, yeah.
My dad has my dad lights up the room, dude, when he goes in there. And my dad's not the best looking guy in the world. Yeah, he says he was good looking till he married my mom. Right? He says, que se hizo feo when he got married to my mom. But my dad was not like he's not a good looking guy. I mean, but my dad was charismatic.
Roberto, if you're watching, it's Bobby, not me. Bobby's the one saying.
Sorry, Dad. I love you, Dad.
But
there's so many, dude. I mean,
well, I'm just saying because you are Tejano, our first teen heartthrob.
I hated that.
But why though, Bobby? Like you never embraced that?
No, dude.
Can you like every kid at 11 or 12 years old with the comb? Hey, people can make fun of me. I don't care. It's my show.
I hated that, bro.
A comb, looking in the mirror, singing every song that you know. You're like, dude, I can't wait. I'm gonna be a singer. I'm gonna have all the girls, whatever. And here you are. You get that, and you're like, I hate it.
But I did not want to be. I did not want to be known for that. I hated that, and I had a real bad experience one time, Bumper. I never told the story, but I had a real bad experience the very first time I went to perform in Tijuana. Now, mind you, at that time, it was Bobby Pulido in Texas, the northern part of Mexico, San Luis. I was like, wow, right? Everywhere was like that. And they go, hey, man, we're going to take you to a festival in Tijuana. And I'm like, Tijuana's like, that's like by California, dude, right?
West Coast.
Dude, West Coast, Cholo land. And they different than us. In Texas,
I got you.
They're different. And so I go over there. And it was this festival, and there must have been 20,000 people, bro. The place was it was a sea of people, right? And there was a lot of guys in the crowd. For some reason, don't ask me why, bro. It's Tijuana. There's a freaking manguera where they're putting water, and they're throwing water all over the place, right? In the audience.
Okay.
In the audience, and they're throwing it. I'm like, oh shit! So the DJ goes up there. Muchachas, están listas mujeres porque te trajimos un regalo. El hombre más guapo, el hombre. And I'm like, and I'm on the side of the stage going, this is the worst thing.
They're setting you up.
This is the worst thing this guy could say because every dude out there in the crowd is gonna hate my guts.
Can I be like that?
Dude, oh my God, bro. I get up there, and for like 3 songs, I'm dodging water bottles, dude. and shoom, and I'm singing, and I'm like, and I got so pissed. I got off the stage, and I said, I'll never come back to this place again. I told all the radio people too. The chicks were there, and they were like, no, dude, like, otra.
How many songs did you think you sang?
I think like 3 songs, bro. I was done. I was out of there. It should have been 2, but I said and that kind of stuck with me all the time because I was like, I never want to be.
They set you up for failure, man.
I never want to be seen as just the handsome guy or the good looking guy or this or that because that's not how I always. To me, it was always do you like my songs? Do you like?
We definitely love the music.
You like my music, right? Because that's what lives on, right? Everything else gets old and wrinkly and gray and whatever, and start growing hair on your ears and shit, like it just.
Bobby.
Man, getting old sucks, bro.
You know what about speaking of age? We talked about 20, 28
now, by the way.
or 29 years, right? You're just a few years older than me, but something personally I want to talk to you about on the show is, your career. Of course, I retired from the Marine Corps 9 years ago, right? 9 years ago, and your career as a singer started the same year that I started in the Marines.
Oh, really?
Right. So your first year when Desvelado came out.
Right. How old are you?
I'll be 48.
Okay.
Close. I was in Okinawa, Japan. And they used to
waxing on and waxing off.
Yeah, waxing on and waxing off. Right, they were stationed in Okinawa, and they had this place called. We used to call it the hook and jab because at the end of the night you were going to be hooking and jabbing.
Okay, cool.
Because Marines came from all over the island of Okinawa, and we would do they used to do a Latino night. But when we used to go to Latino night, it was all Puerto Ricans, and it was salsa, merengue, and bachata, and Raza would show me like, "Hey, bro. We're Latinos." Yeah, we're the acordeon. The ones from Cali, like, hey, we want Chalino Sanchez. I'm like, bro, who's going to dance to Chalino Sanchez, bro? Who's going to dance to Chalino Sanchez, right? So eventually, I went to the manager of the club and said, hey, man, you know what? It's cool that you do the Latin. I'm glad you're doing this, but like, Tejano music is really huge. And I got a lot of music. Again, my best friends were Fernando, Eloy.
Yeah. Moyo, DJ Moyo.
Moyo. I had access to a shitload of music. But back then there was no MP3s. It was all
it's getting hot
you need
getting hotter.
You need CDs, right? You need to. I would take a backpack of CDs and I would set them up and I would DJ at this club. We started doing night, and I always remember that the number one song in 1995 was Desvelado. Like, we would play Desvelado probably like 6 times, right? 6 times, because, the military people that were stationed there with their wives, a lot of us were young guys, privates and PFCs, like just coming in. Yeah. So you can't take your family, but the guys that have been in the Marine Corps for a while, they'd be over there for 3 years with their families. Well, they'd want to take their wives out and have a good time. And a lot of people from South Texas and New Mexico, Arizona, from, Mexicanos. So they would come to the bailes, and dude, every time, like, dude, I just played it like 4 songs ago. No, please, man, can you play it one more time? My lady really wants to hear. And so I always refer to, when I think of Bobby, as like, man, I've been with Bobby since he started, like I was doing at the same time in the Marine Corps. Yeah. And I always tell the artists that come on the show, and for the people who have never watched the show before, one thing that I want to tell you before I forget is thank you for all the great music you've given us throughout the years. And I'm speaking me personally, in the years that I served our Marine Corps in places, not here in the United States, some ugly places in the world. Your music always brought home to us, no matter where we were at in the world, no matter what happened that day. It always brought a calmness. It always brought, like, damn, home's still there, and we got to do what we got to do to get home, right? I think artists don't ever get to hear that part. Like, hey, thank you for your service. I get all that. Like, you're welcome. I would do it all over again. But I want to thank the artists, man. For me personally, that music, and you can ask any of my Marines that were either in with me, they were the same rank of me, or they ended up, as I moved up, they worked for me. All of them knew. Like, you go talk to Master Sergeant Gomez, Gunny Gomez, Staff Sergeant Gomez, Sergeant Gomez, Corporal Gomez. He's a Tejano. Like, he's gonna like somebody hears it, like, that's Gomez. You hear in the barracks, we're cleaning, I'm jamming. Speakers loud as hell. The music is coming from his room, right? Everybody knew that.
That's awesome, man. And thank you for saying that. But honestly, bro, I owe the people more gratitude than anybody could ever give me or want to give me for what I do, because I've been super blessed since I started being in this industry, and I got to tell you, man, I owe it to the fans. I really do. I thank them. It feels good because, you know, many musicians and many artists, and I've seen it throughout the years, record and play for themselves. They do. And I always don't, it sounds ugly, right? But I don't really care what musicians think when we're recording, because my eye on the ball is the fans. And a lot of times it conflicts, right? So if a musician says, I can put this really cool lick there or that, no. Because I want to make sure that the people there are going to jive and groove to this song. And so literally when I'm recording, I'm only thinking of the fans. I'm not thinking about the musicians. I'm not thinking about arrangements. I'm not thinking about any of that. I just have to do something that in my mind, when I'm on stage, that I know that I play, they're going to like it.
And Bobby, have you always been like that since the beginning?
Since day one. I'm a pain in the ass in the studio. Yeah.
And I didn't get to ask you, you know, you said you started with the saxophone, you were in the band, right? But when did vocals come into play?
Man, vocals came in mariachi because just, you know, when I got to high school, I loved music. That's something that Dad was right. It was in my blood. It was something that I loved. And I joined the mariachi without telling my dad. And we were the first mariachi in our high school. I was a part of the first mariachi. We went to UIL and got a first division medal and all that. And we would do serenatas on Mother's Day. And that's how I got into music. But
he didn't know you were singing mariachi?
He did after I joined. Then I told him, right? Like, hey, Dad, I joined. It's like, really? You? Shy Bobby? And I go, look, Dad, because I was always Shy Bobby, right? This is like, I would sing to the ground, bro. I'm like this. I'm like singing like, and I'll never forget, me cansé de rogarle, me cansé de decirle, que yo sin ella de pena muero. And I'm looking at the ground like that. I would never look at the people because they were friends of mine. They were people that I knew, people in the community.
And you don't want them to give you the look.
I was so intimidated, dude. So it was real hard for me to break that out of that. But that was my schooling, right? And so then my dad invites me to record Contigo. I did it. But I knew I wasn't a great singer. I'm not saying I'm a great singer now, but I knew that I was not to there yet, right? I wasn't to that level. And so then I recorded the first CD, and it went boom, dude. I mean, like gangbusters, right? And I said, I got to get better. And I went to take classes with Seth Riggs for a whole week. And Seth Riggs was Michael Jackson's vocal coach, Julio Iglesias.
So how do you find this guy, Bobby?
Stevie Wonder.
I mean, you go from Bobby Pulido to Michael Jackson. Like, you just picked up the phone, it's like, hey, dude, I'm Roberto Pulido's son. Can I get a class or what?
I did not. The label. I told the label I wanted voice lessons, and they contacted Seth Riggs, and they showed Seth my stuff, and they said, can you work with him and will you take him? Now, Seth Riggs was the guy, right? Michael Jackson, later he told me Michael Jackson paid him $21,000 a week to go on tour with him to vocalize him before the shows. $21,000 a week is what, back in the day, right? So Seth Riggs has a house in Beverly Hills, right? I met a singer named Tamia that she sang like R&B, had a song called I Got a Real Thing. This guy was Stevie Wonder's first vocal coach. Stevie was his first.
So when you say vocal coach, like for the people watching, Bobby, like what does that consist of? Do you go in there and you're just going la 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 la? I'm just singing because the people from Milwaukee, they love for me to sing. They call me El Cantante. Okay. Shout out to Fela and Vanessa, everybody in the Midwest from the Milwaukee Mexican Fiesta. They call me El Cantante because when I go live, like if I go see Bobby Pulido and I go live, they're like, hey, we want to hear Bobby. We don't want to hear you. You forget. When you start drinking, you start singing your song. And they're like, but we don't want to hear you. So shout out to those guys.
No. So, yeah, vocal exercises, man. And opening up the sound. And if you listen to my first CD, and then you listen to the second one.
You get to see it.
With Enséñame, And then which enséñame had llévame, because back in the day I would have said llévame contigo, and so we worked a lot on getting an open big sound. So it's more like llévame contigo. Oh, so all of these little things I applied them in the second one, and you hear a vocal progression from the first CD to the second one. It was really noticeable, right? And then I took classes with him. Then I took classes with Per Bristow, also in California, in Los Angeles. And I have taken voice classes from certain instructors around because it's my trade. And I want to get better, and I don't.
And you never stop, right? You still do it now?
I haven't taken voice lessons in a while, to be honest with you, Bumper, because I went through some health stuff. And the last time I had the health issues with my voice and stuff, and it was really like an autoimmune problem that I have. I was taking classes with a guy in Mexico City, and I couldn't respond vocally to what he wanted me to do, and it was pissing me off. And
frustrating the shit out of you.
Big time. So I stopped doing it, and I told him this: I gotta get healthy, right, dude? And I got healthy. I had surgery. I got healthier, and I haven't gone back, right? But honestly, I've been singing really good. I'm happy with the way I'm singing, right? It doesn't mean that I won't go back, because you never know,
right?
But it helped me, man. It's you can believe the hype, or you can be your hardest critic and always want to improve. To the best of my ability, right? I'm not trying to compete with the best singers out there. Everybody's got their own. They're born with their God-given talent and own voice. That's why you sound different when you talk, and I sound different when I talk, and we all sound different. So some people are blessed with huge, massive voices, and others like myself are not.
Yeah, I'm not blessed with a singing voice. That's for sure.
But you have a strong talking voice.
There you go.
I don't.
There you go.
Right. So
see, you heard that, guys? I got a strong talking voice, man. When's the last time you played the saxophone?
The last time I played the saxophone was a concert in Monterrey. It's on. You can YouTube it. It's in YouTube.
You got down like James Brown on it?
But I played Tequila.
That's a song from Pee Wee Herman. Pee Wee Herman when he gets on the bar and he does a.
And he does this. Yeah, so you could actually go on YouTube and Google Bobby Pulido Tequila, and you'll see me playing at the Palenque, the song with the band. That's the last time I played saxophone.
Speaking of saxophone, we couldn't do the show tonight without a few people, man, that we want to talk about a little bit. Tonight's show is sponsored by my good friend, great saxophone player, one of the coolest vibes in La Onda Tejana as well. Helps out La 45 every now and then. Ricky Ray, the realtor, man. You can hit him up at 956-424-5724. That's 956-424-5724. If you're looking to buy, sell, whatever the case may be, hit him up. He can help you with your credit. Raza, you know how we are with credit, man. This guy can help you get where you want. If you don't know what you need to buy a house, he can walk you through the whole steps. So make sure you give him a holler. Ricky Ray, 956-424-5724. And then after you buy the house, Bobby, you got to protect it. Why not get new female vocalists of the new female vocalist of the year? Also works for Vivint Smart Home. Our good friend Di Marie. You can hit her up. Make sure you guys hit her up. Let her know that Bumper sent you. She might throw in an extra camera. Ladies, if you're trying to keep the Sanchez out, man, you're trying to keep the Sanchos out, whatever. You need a camera inside, outside, hallway.
You're stereotyping, Mexican. You're stereotyping, Mexican. What are you doing, man?
She can help you, man. So make sure you hit up my girl Di Marie at Vivint Smart Home. And then after you get, you're protected, man. He was just here. Brett, well, you can't see it, but the guy who makes all my merchandise, he also does stuff for Bobby Pulido as well. Our good friend, Gilbert Alaman, 832-546-5856. That's 832-546-5856. The Gibster, he can help you make coasters, koozies, beanies, sweatshirts, T-shirts, local, whatever you want to put on it, Gibby can help you out. So make sure you guys hit him up. And then for all my veterans out there, we were talking about the military. My good friend, retired Sergeant Major Oscar Ornelas, United States Marine Corps, retired. If you guys take a picture of that QR code, if any of you guys are veterans out there and you got your disability and it's not where you want, maybe you're at 20%, you want to be at 30, 40, or 50%, or maybe you've got out of the military and you don't even know where to begin to start your disability claim, hit up my buddy Oscar Ornelas. He can take care of you, but you got to make sure you tell him the bumper sent you, and he'll take special care of you, right? So hit him up. He's a great guy and served our country well. Last but not least, brand new sponsor of the show, Carnitas Urapan. Right?
Es Uruapan.
You see, I knew you were going to correct me.
Uruapan.
Say it, Bobby.
Uruapan.
Urapan.
It's from Uruapan, Michoacán.
Okay, Carnitas.
Yeah. Uruapan.
There you go.
Yeah.
945 South Austin Street, right there at the Matador Plaza, Seguin, Texas. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Make sure you check them out. Starting Friday after 6 p.m. Have some of the best carnitas in the Seguin area. Make sure you guys go by and check them out. Let them know Bumper sent you. And then our good friend, Mr. Jim Luna, who you just did something for Jim Luna. Yeah.
That's right.
Shout out to Quarter Moon Productions and Jim Luna. Coming this early spring. Big concert coming to the Houston area, right? Hosted by yours truly, myself. It's going to be Grupo La Mafia, David Lee Garza, Los Musicales, Marcos Orozco, and my good friend, Mike Gonzalez from the Iconics. It's going to be a concert you don't want to miss. Again, Quarter Moon Productions coming your way. Make sure you guys go check it out. They have one VIP section, I think, still available. So get on the website. Make sure you go check it out and get your VIP tickets before they're sold out. This Sunday, Bobby, we're starting something brand new here in San Antonio.
Oh, yeah?
Tejano Sundays, bro. We're going to have somewhere to go on Sundays to go listen to some live Tejano music right from Thirsty Horse. Right? You ever been to Thirsty Horse?
Never.
Thirsty Horse right here in San Antonio. We're going to have, you talked to him about him earlier, La Voz, Mr. Jay Perez and the band. They're going to be there this Sunday, January 14th. Bumper, it's a Sunday. I know, but Monday is Martin Luther King Day. So a lot of us...
Oh, so that's we're no longer Mexicans. Now we black. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, Martin Luther
I'm just
King.
kidding, man.
So to celebrate Martin Luther
That's
King
where you
Day.
go dress in your hip hop gear. No,
There
I'm
you
just
go.
kidding.
Sunday night, Jay Pettis, Thirsty Horse. Make sure you guys go check us out. We're going to be there. Make sure I think you can get your pre-sale tickets now. If not, you can pay at the door again this Sunday. Make sure you guys go check out Jay Pettis, Thirsty Horse here in San Antonio, Texas. And last but not least, make sure you guys go check out the brand new record by my good friend, Mónico Cortez, MC2. Also helped him out was David Lee Garza, Los Musicales. Great album. If you guys haven't heard it, he's got a song on the charts right now in the top 20. So make sure you guys go download it, give him a shout out, and let him know Bumper Gomez sent you, man. So Mi Hijo, Mi Ángel, dedicated to his son, MC3, who he lost tragically last year. So make sure you guys go and support Mónico Cortez, Mi Hijo, Mi Ángel. Make sure you download it. It's on all your digital platforms. Thank you. And we're back. There we go, Bob.
Hey, man.
We knocked them all out.
You gotta pay the bills.
You got to pay the bills, bro.
That's right.
Hey, don't
Gotta
say that. My
keep-
wife gets mad when I say,
Why?
do you say that? Those people are helping. I said, well, that's what they're doing. They're paying. We're paying the bills, right?
These cameras and these lights, they're expensive.
They are the company, the thing that we got to pay and whatnot.
Everything.
everything.
That's right.
Bobby, I told you, your first song that Contigo was your very first. Right?
Yeah.
And people don't know the story of Contigo. I know in some interviews before you've mentioned the story on you were a kid in college.
Yeah, St. Mary's here in San Antonio.
And somebody came up to you and said, "Hey man, let me get your autograph." And you're like, "Dude, get out of my face. What are you talking about?"
A friend of mine.
Yeah. What happened there?
He said, I said, "What are you talking about, dude?" Dude, I just heard you on the radio. I'm like, "No, dude, there's no way." He goes, "I swear to God, dude, I heard you on the radio. It's a song you sang with your dad." I had already forgotten that I had done the song because I had gone on Christmas vacation, and my dad said, "Hey, mijo, record this song with me." And I'm like, "Dad, I want to be a lawyer, man. Like, I'm not going to be a singer." And he tells me, no, but...
How many years were you already there, Bobby, at St. Mary's? Your first year,
I was there
second?
4 years, but at the time...
But I'm saying this year, that year...
At the time, I think I might have already been, like, in the third year. It was in the third year. And so I told him, "Look, Dad..." But then my dad... I told him I didn't want to, but then my dad knows how to get me, and it's with the sentimental thing. He says, lo quiero como un recuerdo para mí.
Mm-hmm.
Me vas a decir que no. Okay, Dad, fine. I said, but just for you, right? Just for me. So I did the song. I heard it. I wrote down the lyrics, and I sang it, and I went back to school. And went back with my life, and, you know, it takes time, and unbeknownst to me, he showed that to the label, to Manolo Gonzalez, and then Manolo goes, hey, we're putting out compilation albums, give me the song. But my dad never told me. So I probably should have sued him, because I would have won a big lawsuit for copyright infringement on my voice. I'm joking, kind of. But so then I was on the radio, man. It's like, and back then we didn't have cell phones, Bumper. There was no cell phone. So I went back to my dorm and called my dad from there, and I was just lit into him. I was mad. I told you. I know, mijo, but I just showed it to him, and I couldn't tell him no because he's with the label and I'm with him. And so he starts putting out this excuse, and I was like, man, Dad, like, why, man? Like, I didn't want this. I never really, being in the limelight wasn't, you know, something that I wanted to do.
Right.
It wasn't. And then it did well.
We have any questions, John? I'm sorry. Shout out to my buddy John, who's helping us produce the show tonight. Do we have any big questions? I know you've been waiting. We kind of been ignoring the chat room a little bit, right? We can't ignore them. Uh-oh.
Actually, no. So I mean, everything has been not a lot of questions, but I actually have a question. So if I can ask Bobby, so Bumper asked, talked about the impact of Desvelado and the big hit. Yeah. So obviously one of my favorite songs. Can you talk a little bit about the transition of the acoustic version that came out after the original? Mm-hmm. Was that just like kind of a transition, or how long after the original did the acoustic version come out?
It was a long time.
I get question, vato.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. That's a good question. You have to do it 10 years. You cannot record the same song until 10 years have expired.
That's a rule?
That's a rule.
A law.
So if you sign with the label and you do, I don't know, Por una mujer casada, I'm just saying it, right? You can't record that song. That label will not allow you to record that song for 10 years later, right? Because you can go re-record the exact same arrangement, the exact same thing, and then somebody else will own it, and it becomes a big mess. So I guess copyright law makes it to where you can only record that song in those 10 years, right? I own the majority of my masters, but I don't own that one. So when I did Desvelado en Acústico, I own it.
The acoustic version.
Correct. Right.
Great question, producer. Wow.
That's a very, very good question.
Wow.
That's kind of a nerdy question. But it's good because like we don't know,
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah,
not
you
everything is just
get asked that all the time.
Yeah, right.
We want to give un saludos to everybody watching on YouTube. I always get in trouble because they're like, Bumper, you're very Facebook heavy. You never show us love on YouTube. But YouTube is showing a lot of love tonight.
Yes, how much love are they showing?
They're showing quite a bit. They're showing quite a bit of love. Un saludos to our good friends Jaime and Amanda, the 1000s. Their question I wanted to ask you was, are you big on social media? Do you ever just go through and listen to the Tejano DJs or the people playing our music on social media? Or that's not one things that you do?
I don't listen to a lot of music.
Really, Bob?
Really?
Imeno's your music.
Meno's my music. I absolutely, I don't listen to not one song of mine. I listen to the only time I listen to my music is when I'm recording it. Mm-hmm. And once it goes out to the public, I no longer ever play it. Ever. In my playlist, I listen to sports. Here's the truth. Why don't I listen to music? Right?
Because you don't want to get influenced by somebody else?
Right. I do.
Got it right.
That's exactly right. I don't want somebody else's sound to rub off on me, and then I'm gonna put that in mine, and they're gonna go, "Oh, he copied that." So I don't really like to listen to anything because I want that when I go to the studio, I want my fresh ideas. And I want to be able to project something that's virgin, right?
Right.
That
came from you.
That's in here, right? And so I don't really like to get it congested with that. Just for that reason.
Hey, Bobby, you like to write? You like to write a lot, or
I used to write a lot. I have a lot of songs, bro. That's something that I think I've neglected it recently because I've been touring so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I see myself in the future. That's going to be what I'm going to do when I'm old and not doing this anymore.
You're going to be writing songs.
I'm going to be writing songs. Yeah, that's kind of my way of keeping my foot in.
I have a different view of Bobby Pulido.
Okay,
and this has come to light in the last 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
Again, as I do my own investigation, and I got friends that, that have been around you, been in your circle, they've been in your bands, like, and not that they're specifically talking to me, it's just like I pick up things, right?
Right.
You're a political science major.
Yes, sir.
So for the raza out there, political science, usually those kind of people go into politics.
Yeah.
And it's come to my attention that Bobby Pulido is very good with speaking, with words. You said it yourself, charisma, right?
I think I didn't say I have that. I just said that it's important.
Well, no, you. I'm telling you, you have it.
Oh,
but what I'm saying is, I see Bobby Pulido. Maybe not like in a year or two, but in the future, I see you representing us, our cultura, our people from Texas, maybe in the state of Texas, or maybe even in Washington, D.C. I can see somebody of your stature growing up here, knowing our people, knowing what we need, knowing you're a frontera kid. You've lived down there. You know how it is to live down there. What better person would to have somebody like you to represent who we are? That's just me. That's a thing. That's a thing that maybe, is that something that you would maybe be interested in doing one day?
All I can tell you is that if you had asked me when I was going to college, if I was going to be a singer, I would have told you you're crazy. Right? And I ended up doing it. So all I can tell you is my personality is bold and very decisive. That if I do that, I'm going to do it full on. And you'll be the first to know if that ever happens, right? But
I'm gonna put a sign in my front yard. I'm gonna put a sign in my front yard. Be the first one with a sign.
The only thing I can tell you is that the people that know me know one thing: is they never be surprised about anything when it comes to me. Don't be surprised, right? Of anything, right? Because
you just never know.
No, because I always, I think with my own way of looking at the world, and philosophically what to do and what I want to do with my life, and I'm bold. I don't play it safe all the time. I do things that maybe shock people, not in a bad way.
No,
right? Because I've been in this 28 years and I've never had a scandal. There's never been anything,
You've never been on Primer Impacto.
Well, yeah, dude. I've never had the I've never had the child support issues or this.
Wow.
No. And let me tell you something, bro. I got divorced. I had three kids with my previous marriage, and it's real expensive. I mean, really expensive because you gotta fund and support like as if nothing happened, and then you gotta live your life. So, but what I can tell you is this, man. I sold rifles. I sold my first truck I ever had, but I always paid my child support. And I didn't care because my priorities were that. And my kids never suffered. They never went like, hey, man, dad didn't pay this and he's doing that or he's doing that. I made sure that my priorities were my priorities. And So I know what it's like, right? But I never had any scandals, man. That's why, because I've always, I've tried to live my life in an exemplary way.
Yeah. I
I'm not perfect, bro, by no means, and I'm not here being judgmental or none of that stuff.
But
I just that's my way of thinking, bro.
there's nothing wrong with your way of thinking. Going back to the politic things, it's just that's something I could literally I would put a sign in my front yard for somebody like yourself.
Well, thank you, bro.
Right?
I appreciate that.
And we're not talking red or blue or any of that stuff
No.
people like to get into.
I hate that.
I just want somebody who's going to represent who we are.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah,
and
that's it.
You got something for us?
So shout out to Abel Luetta. So question for Bobby. So I mean, this is kind of straightforward, but will you be doing any duets with Grupo Frontera? So I guess it's more of is there a group that you would ever think of collaborating
You
with?
just did it. We just started a song with the collab. Started the show with the collab.
The song with MC Davo and Monica Saldivar. I'm not opposed to that at all. But here's the thing: when they ask that, right? It's just not in my nature to ever go ask somebody to do a collab with me. Just won't do it. So unless they ask me to do something with them, I'm not gonna go ask them to do it.
Great answer.
But again, if they were to tell me we want to do a collab with you, and I hear the song, because that's what I tell everybody. It all depends on the song. The song's everything. If the song's a banger and I just I gotta do it. I just did a song with a pop artist out of Mexico City, dude. The guy sent me the song and I went, wow. I loved it, dude. I loved the song.
And it's in pop?
Nope. He wanted to do it in a cumbia style. And he says, I did this song in this cumbia style. And honestly, I didn't really. The guy started out as an influencer and became a pop star, right? Kind of started that way, and he's pretty successful. He's got big numbers, right? But when he first told me he wanted to do something, I told him, look, man, send me the song. If I like the song, I'll do it. Because I kind of still viewed him as an influencer. But he sent me the song, and I went, damn. I guess I'm doing a duet with him. And I said, yeah, I'll do that song for you. Absolutely.
Well, somebody just commented with something that I remember. Bobby Pulido, Frijoles Románticos.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Those guys, when I started the label, that was the first band I signed.
Bobby, I'm glad you said that statement, the first people you signed, right?
Yes.
Correct me if you think that I'm wrong in any way.
Yes.
Right? You want some more water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Bartender, come on. Bring us another bottle of water if they have some. Oh, there you go. Back to what I was going. Where was that, Bobby? Because we were rudely interrupted by the bartender.
Right. The
frijoles románticos. Yes. So, to me, the frijoles románticos were 15 years ahead of their time.
Yeah, they were.
Musically, they were 15 years ahead of their time. If they would have been out any other time, it would have took off like a rocket, bro.
I agree.
That's my opinion on the frijoles románticos.
I agree. Much like Steve Jordan.
Very progressive. Like the dude was his own. He was in his own realm.
And they were. I love those guys. Lucky Joe, Epi, Noe, who's playing now. Noe's playing with the Tex-Mex, Tex-Maniacs.
Tex-Maniacs?
Yeah. Eddie and Tootie, who are playing now with...
those Delta Boys?
That's right, with Delta Boys.
Bro. Woo! Those guys are hot right now. They
invited me, to go listen to them, and I heard them. I go, dude, let's record a CD. That was the biggest mistake of my life, bro. Oh, my God. And I love them to death. But anybody that's had to deal with a band with no leader, it's like herding cats.
It's hard.
Oh my God, bro. Because then one or two guys will go, I'm not feeling it. And the other guys are like, it's cool. And so it's so hard to get them
Together to do on the same sheet of music.
Agreeing on something.
Right.
So it's really, really difficult. And so they are, just so you have an idea, right? One of the songs they recorded was Mary Jane. So you get the gist of their essence. No, I'm good. So one of their songs was Mary Jane, Let's Get High. Mm-hmm. So you can understand a little bit about what fuels them. Right? Kind of Willie Nelson.
And Bobby,
Snoop
you're
Dogg.
backing this up, Bobby.
And no, dude, and that's the problem, right? So like we go into the studio and the lights were off and there's candles and they're grooving and they're jamming and I'm not feeling it, man. Let's go out there for a toke break. So, that album cost me 30 G's.
Because you're paying by the hour.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, man. And I'm like, hey, dude.
Wow.
And I'm like, hey, man, like, record it, bro. Like, hey, we got to get the right feel, the right vibe. And so it took a long time, bro.
Wow, this is a crazy story. So,
it took a long
what would
time.
have been a simple album roughly would have been what about? What average?
Maybe 10. And it was like, whoa, bro. It's just, and I get it. I'm like, I get if you want to get the mood and it.
They got to get it. They got to get into their groove.
This was before digital, right?
Right.
This is recording analog. So the whole band is recording at the same time, right? So they all got to be jamming and vibing. And I'm sitting there and like, I like it, man. It's bad. No, it's not there. We need to take a break. Take a break. And we come back. And it was just, Jesus.
Y nunca gritaste, Bobby? You never got mad? You never said, hey, guys.
No, man, because...
You just wanted something to be good.
How do you yell at a stoner? It's not going to do anything. They're going to be like,
hey, bro,
hey,
chill.
calm down, chill, bro. You see, they literally, you said there before their time, like, no, I think they were from the hippie days, man. They could have played Woodstock.
Yeah, for sure. You know, speaking, I didn't put the poster up, but speaking of Lucky Joe, I'm going to be with Lucky Joe on the 27th.
They're so talented, man. All of them, to a T, they are talented. They are, heck, they should do a reunion. And I know maybe it never happened, but they are so good of a band that when they would jam together, you just went, yeah, dude. And they're all from the school of Benny Layton. And if you don't know that name, Bumper...
Well, Benny Layton,
may he rest in peace. But Benny Layton was the first director of the Estudiantina and Ed Cauchelsa. Ed Cauchelsa is the heart... It's one of the heart and souls, one of the heart and souls of our music in the Valley.
La Máquina.
But it's because Benny Layton had the Estudiantina. So he would teach them accordion, guitarrón. They would... I mean, it was culture, bro. Culture rich. It is still to this day is. And that whole 107 corridor, bro, is there you have the Jesse Turner and Signo just going down the road, Santa Rosa. You got all that. There's so much talent in that area, man. And they're just it's all thanks to Benny Layton. Saludos a la familia Layton.
That's awesome, man. I've heard the name before, but I didn't know that many people have kind of gone through.
My dad, his first band he played with was the Laytons. It was a family, Los Hermanos Layton, and my dad was a sax player for them.
And your dad has a thing named after him, right?
My dad, they named an auditorium after my dad.
The auditorium, there you go.
The auditorium, and then he's got a statue there in Edinburgh. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
A real legend.
A real legend. Hey, Bob, bro. Your statue's... There's a guy, he's on the patas right now. He just got the patas. He's working on the calves. He's working,
I'm not worthy, bro.
He's working on the way. He's working on the way up.
I'm not worthy.
So a question that I had on my messenger was they wanted one question for Bobby Pulido.
Okay.
All right. It's simple, Bob.
Okay.
Boxers or briefs?
Briefs. Briefs.
There you guys go. I'm more of a boxers guy. Hey, briefs, hey.
Briefs.
Briefs. I got you. We got some more questions. Somebody brought up the accordion dreams that the on YouTube. Have you ever seen the accordion dreams? They talk about like.
Oh, of course. It was
where it started and stuff.
That's right. Accordion dreams.
Jesse's in it. Jesse Turner when he was like a young kid.
Of course. But the guy that the name of the director was a friend of my dad's and everything. It just escapes me. But of course, I'm familiar with it. Yeah, it talks about our culture.
One of the big things I wanted to bring up with you, and I wanted to already go at least one in, was and I know there's a ton of artists watching right now, and there's the people who watch who don't click, but they watch, right? Because they don't want to be bothered in the chat room or whatnot.
Yeah, that's good.
And Bob, the one person I wanted to speak this conversation with was you. I've been waiting. No, it's not controversial at all. Okay. I wouldn't do that to you.
I know. I don't mind controversy.
No. But it's about the state of the Tejano industry. You know, you spoke on the word like you, and I agree with you. If the word wasn't so strong, Tejano, you know, maybe it'd be a little bit different. But, you know, a lot of people like to say, like, you know, after the 90s and the early 2000s, it kind of went away, and you know, it'll never get back to the heydays of the 90s, you know. And I'm one of those guys, you know, that I've been doing this for almost 4 years. You know, I really don't look at that anymore. Like let's not go back to trying to be like the 90s. Let's go with what we got right here, and work together. But one thing that I see in the industry, and I talk to a lot of my friends who are artists, like, it's envidia. Like, it's the crabs in the bucket.
Oh,
it's
brother. The Tejanos drink more haterade than anybody else. That's a fact.
I've learned that the hard way.
I wish it wasn't the case, but it's a fact.
Like, you know, I've been around, you know, regional Mexican bands or Mas Mexicano bands, and those dudes are, like, you go backstage, those dudes are like, hey, something broke, use mine. Like, ain't no big deal. Some Tejano bands be like, no, hell no, you ain't got that shit. You ain't using my shit. I got to use it after you, and you break it. Then
I have so many stories, bro. Horror stories.
So Bob, what's your take, man? And I'm not looking for an answer to fix, right? If you consider that it's broken, but what do you think is some of our major issues right now? What do we need to do to pump our chest back out again? And you said earlier in the beginning of the show, like Grupo Frontera, we should all be like, hell yeah, those are our people just playing our music, showing who we are, our cultura, and the top that you can be. And you know the worst critics? Our own people.
Right.
Our own people are the worst critics. What's your take?
This is a long conversation.
Hey, well, I mean, we can cut it down.
It's a long conversation. Several things, right? First of all, don't ever get the words "that's not Tejano" out of your mouth. Don't ever repeat that again, because it makes you very sanctimonious and judgmental towards everybody else's stuff. And who are you to decide what's Tejano, who's not? Let's be inclusive, first of all, right? Because that's going to help promote the young people to be different and not have to just do the same thing and sound like a cookie cutter from 20 years ago. Now, you mentioned not to go back to the past. Bumper, I'm a big believer in history, and I'm a big believer in that from history you can learn your mistakes and the mistakes of the past. And not only the mistakes, but also the virtues of things that were in the past. Why? Why do I say that? Why did Tejano blossom? Tejano blossomed because the big labels came and invested money in us. That's a fact. Multinational. God bless mom and pop radio station. Record labels. I think we should always promote them, and they should be given our thanks. However, they don't have money, or they don't invest the money like a multinational came in. So I saw this with my father, as many artists that are truly, truly, truly really good musicians, but not great business people. And I don't say that in a way that is derogatory, because not everybody has a sense of business. Everybody's got their strengths. Most artists can't be business savvy and musically savvy. It's very hard to have the both. You can maybe have it, but it's not common.
Right.
Most of them are, most musicians are creative, left brain, right brain, whatever they are, and they're thinking about music and stuff. And if they make money, they're gonna go spend it, and they're gonna go buy themselves something, and they're not gonna worry, and they're gonna say, yeah, next week I have another gig and I'll pay it then. Right? And they need a business manager. And you always need somebody to say, okay, guy, we're going to make X amount of dollars. This much is going to go now for promotion, because now the labels ain't here no more. And now we got to promote our music. And you know what? Instead of recording this CD at a house, maybe we're going to go to somebody who has a little bit better gear, have a little bit better budget, so the CD can sound a little more polished and more real, right? And, okay, we're going to work on our image. You know what? We're going to be professional when we get there at the show. We're going to give people their money's worth. We're not going to be drunk on stage. There's so many different things that need to happen. I'm not saying don't drink on stage, but I'm saying don't get plastered. And give them your best. And then we need to promote our music with the young people. The young people are our lifeblood. They're the ones that are going to keep this going.
I think that's where we're failing, though.
We're failing them as parents. Because we're not... Listen, bro, right now, and inflation and all these things, most families now have two-parent households that work. If you're lucky, you have a two-parent household. And then mom and dad have to go work. So that kid is being raised by the cell phone or his friends. And then they're not spending quality time with mom and dad. And I'm not being judgmental, because that's a reality that we have to live. But we got to try. We got to try to introduce them to our culture. We got to try to say, this is who we are and this is where we come from. Right? Because that's our lifeblood. We need to stop being judgmental on what's Tejano and what's not. We need to open our arms to everybody and say, hey, let's make this go. Get rid of the haterade. Stop drinking. Let's say, let's do this. Let's make it work. And we have to invest. Just know this. Because most people have this idea that if back in the day, and that's the other thing. I'm going all over the place.
It's all right. It's right? Wacky Wednesday. You can do that.
Back in the day, when Tejano came, the good songwriters, Bumper, the good songwriters are not just putting a word to rhyme. Es amiga, mi hija, me quiero comer migas, or whatever, right? We cannot grow and promote our music if we're not lyrically correct. And if we're not deep in or at least meaningful in our words, right? So what happens is, back in the day when the labels came in, and they came in with investment, it's like throwing corn to the pigeons.
To the pigs?
To the pigs or the pigeons, right? Songwriters follow the corn. So the good songwriters go, oh, these guys are investing in these Tejano artists. Hey, man, here's this song, here's this song, here's this song. And the minute those labels went away and those writers know that the artists don't invest, they went, I'm out too. Case in point, many years ago, I have my wife's from Mexico City. I have a house over there, and I spend a lot of time in my summers in Mexico City. Mm-hmm. I was in a co-writing session with a very, very prolific writer named Bruno Danza. And Bruno Danza's recorded songs, Jenny Rivera, big artist.
Yeah.
Right? The guy's a badass songwriter. And he's like, hey, ¿tú conoces un grupo que se llaman Los Palominos? I'm like, oh, dude, hello. I was like, growing up,
that's the group right there. That was
my jam, yeah. And he tells me, yo les compuse una rola. And I go, ¿Cuál? Because I know them all. Corazón de Cristal. And I went, oh, that's one of their biggest hits. What are you talking about, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, why didn't you give him any more songs? And he goes, because, the label kind of, they lost interest and I just never sent him any songs. And we depend, the number one most important thing in the success of an artist, and I don't care what genre, if it's R&B, Tejano, whatever, it's all about the song. And that's what Quincy Jones said, right? So we focus on, oh man, the mix. I gotta get the mix right. And you know what? I gotta get the arrangements right. And I gotta tweak this and tweak that. A good song doesn't need any tweaking. You get in there, you record it with the guys, and it just flows. That's a good song.
It's just good.
It's just good. Right? And that's the thing, right? We need good songs. And we need to stop thinking we're songwriters. I say that because I co-write and I do some songs on my own and I've had hits, but not all of my hits have been songs I wrote. I've written a lot. And to this day, if somebody comes with a great song,
you're going to do it.
Yes, dude. I am very blessed to have very, very good friends that are bad mother songwriters.
One thing that I noticed about some of your songs, though, the words are a little deeper than some of our traditional songs.
How do you think you're gonna cross over, bro?
That's where I'm going. In a simple way to say it is like some of the Tejano songs are simple Spanish. They're like the most simplest words. They're not very deep. And now some of the new songs that you hear, dude, there are some big words that you've never heard before in a song.
But Bumper, right now, as it stands, if I go to a concert here in Texas, I probably have a mix of 60% Mexican to 40% Tejanos in Texas.
Wow.
Right? So guess what? Is that a bad thing?
No.
Is it bad that I want to bring more people into my music and into my fold? No. But sometimes a Tejano will go, he's Mexican. Yeah, he does a Mexico thing. Like a jealousy thing. And it shouldn't be that way. Because a good song, let me tell you, dude, Devórame Otra Vez. Jimmy Gonzalez was one of the few people that I can tell you that I respected so much that would go grab a song from another genre and make it más. Devórame Otra Vez was a
salsa song.
Salsa song, dude.
I've said that story before.
And most Tejanos hear that and go, that's más song, dude. No, bro. It's Eddie Santiago.
My best friend is Puerto Rican.
I don't know if Eddie Santiago or somebody like that. Somebody that's from over there.
My best friend's from Puerto Rico. Well, my best man at my wedding, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Noel Santiago in Tampa, Florida. And before that, we would buy an 18-pack of Budweiser, and we'd put a CD player. I'd have my CDs, his CDs, and we would just sit in the backyard and drink beer, and he'd play a song, I'd play a song, and we were learning each other's music. Yeah. Well, he played Devórame Otra Vez. And I said, hey, bro, that's a Mas song. That's a Tejano song. No. So, bro, you know how he won? When you take the CDs out, in the center, it has the copyright year.
That's right.
And his shit was way before.
That's right.
Before the Mas one.
Jimmy was a genius. Jimmy would get a song and just say, okay, I can envision Joe in this vocal, and he would make it happen, bro. That is a talent, right? And so it's all about the song. The song matters. And right now, I think that's a part that gets real neglected because, if you're a Tejano band, maybe you go, I don't know many songwriters. And it's hard.
Bobby, do you think Tejano artists are lacking new material? I know a lot of people do covers and, they go back to what we know and what hit. Like, I feel that, a lot of people do. A lot of people, they comment, a week in and week out during the shows, like, we lack new material, right? But if what you're saying is true, that's why it's so hard to get songs because there's nobody feeding you these songs. And if you got to come up with them,
right?
You got to come up with the simple Spanish songs, right? They're not going to be
yeah. But it's... I always say this, right? Like songwriters, I listen to a project, right? A friend of mine has a project or whatever. I'll just no mentioning no names and not dogging nobody. And the singer had written all the songs. And he goes, he wrote all the songs. What was he doing before he was doing this? Well, I don't know, working wherever. And I go, so all of a sudden he's a songwriter.
He's a songwriter?
Like, does that mean that you're a prolific songwriter and you need a hit? And chances are that guy ain't going to give you a hit. There's a saying in Spanish that says, zapatero a sus zapatos. Zapatero a sus zapatos. If you're in the shoes, then you work on shoes. You're in the shoe business. But if you're not in that and you don't know that, dude, I used to have writing sessions with my friends that are like monsters, and they would kind of like, ooh, no.
Bobby, you're in first grade over here.
Dude,
hey, Bobby, you're writing. You're like, they would say they're pretty like, Charlie, no, I'm not going to let you read my shit.
Hey, bro, it was like I was this wannabe karaoke singer at Luis Miguel's concert, right? It was like that, bad. And so Miguel Luna wrote Minutos for Arjona, with Arjona. Luis Miguel has recorded him. Miguel Luna is one of the most prolific writers I know. And Miguel took me under his wing.
You rubbed shoulders with these guys.
And he told me, Ben, te voy a enseñar. And we wrote, and then I went and worked stuff, and I called him. I said, I want you to show you. Ahora sí estás entendiendo. And ahora sí. And he really guided me. And my songwriting went to a different level because I co-wrote with these guys.
Hey, Bobby, when you were young, like in your early 20s, you started with Desvelado, Contigo, and all these songs. You were very good at Spanish already? Like
no,
you were
I was
very
terrible.
fluent.
I was like any Tejano, bro.
You were like Tejano. We just
terrible.
Parquear, ser estacionar.
Dude, like, I never forget. I went and I did Veronica Castro's show, and she says, "Oye, Bobby, cuéntanos de una anécdota."
¿Una qué?
Una anécdota. And I'm like, and she goes, algo que te haya pasado. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Anécdota is something
that's happened to
an
you.
experience.
Yeah.
Something that happened. I had no idea what the hell she was talking about. So I was really, really limited, right? And so I'd go to interviews, and the Mexican jocks are the worst, bro. They're cabrones, bro. Cabrones. So, oye, Bobby, cuéntame, ¿te gustan los mariscos? Pues sí. They would laugh at me, like, because if you call somebody a marisco, it's like calling somebody a maricón.
Really?
Oh, yes. In Spanish, son muy albureros. So they're always joking, you know, and throwing indirectas with something. And if you're not in the lingo,
you don't.
They're making fun of you, bro. Like,
yeah.
But I learned the language, and I said.
So, but is that because you immersed yourself in Mexico, like your wife's from Mexico City,
but
you're in
Mexico. Well before.
Well before that, but.
Yeah.
They always say if you immerse yourself into something, that's the quickest way to learn. Is like where you have no choice
immerse yourself. That's right. Hey, but
Viva in the Periscope district. There you go, right there. What's the word?
Immerse.
Yeah, what was it saying? Emerge.
Yeah, but I get it. So
see, political science major,
I'm
bro. You see that?
Sorry, bro. Sorry.
Dale, Bob. Dale.
I'm a stickler for grammar. But no, so if you really get involved in that, right? Like, and I did. I would talk to my guys and I would tell them, hey, háblame en puro español. Okay. Y si digo algo malo, me corrigen. Okay, señor.
¿No me correctas?
Me corrigen.
You see what I mean?
And so it was like that, dude. And then sooner or later, it get to the point where I would do an interview all in Spanish and cabrón, hablas como. And I get in a taxi in Mexico and they go, ¿de dónde eres? Pues allá del norte. Eres de Monterrey, tienes un acento muy regio. Dije, no, fíjate que no. Coahuila, no. Tamaulipas, no. And I would go all the way to Sinaloa. No, tampoco. Pues ¿de dónde eres, ching? Dije, soy de Texas, el sur de Texas, pero es el norte.
Yeah.
so
you got something for us?
No, so just real quick, Bobby. So if we weren't talking Tejano,
yes,
and you were in your truck, your car, what is it that you're listening to? If we're not talking Tejano, if we wanted to know more about what your biggest music influence today,
I'm no different than almost everybody out there. They've done studies and research on that deal. If you listened, whatever you listened to when you were like 16, 17, all the way to like 22, is what you pretty much listen the rest of your life. So I'm 80s, mid 80s. I like the rock, right? I like Metallica,
Poison,
even the hairband thing, but also Depeche Mode.
Hell yeah!
All of the British band movement, dude. Aha.
How about Stevie B, Bobby?
Who?
Stevie B?
What? Give me the song.
Spring Love, come back to me. Remember that?
Oh, that's a B-side song, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I only like bangers.
Wow! Even your son knows who Stevie B is.
Either that or you're not singing it good.
I'm probably not singing it good. I'm
I'm
probably not singing it good.
But yeah,
that's for sure.
That's what I like. Oh yeah, they just written a site.
Oh shoot! Well, as you guys know, maybe you guys don't know. You know what? I haven't even said that. I haven't even announced what I'm doing this year. Last year, I had the honor and privilege of hosting the Tejano Mundial Awards, and this year I got asked by Frank Chapa and Tejano 360, the network, to host again the Tejano Mundial Awards that are going to be happening next month, February, man, right around the corner. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited to host this award show, Bob.
And I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. Frank contacted me, and they have an award called the Icon Award, and they're going to be presenting me with the Icon Award, which is, thank you, Frank, and thanks to all the people.
Wow. You guys heard it here first, right now, Bumpers Wacky Wednesday.
Yeah.
Bobby Pulido be at the Tejano Mundial Awards. Make sure you guys make plans. If you got to check out Tejano 360 Network, they have all kinds of Tejano things going on all the time. It's an app. You can get it on your phone. It's gonna be a great time. My good friend Tori E, we did it last year. We're gonna be doing it again. So that makes me feel good, Bob. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah. And one thing you said earlier, Bobby, that I didn't get to talk about was when you said you went back and talked to the kids.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. I think as an industry, we lack that now.
We are.
Growing up, I remember Patsy Torres.
Oh, dude.
Going to all the schools.
There used to be a guy.
McLovio.
Coach Lowry.
What was his name?
Coach Lowry. Network for Young Artists. That guy was a huge promoter at all the schools. A white dude promoting our culture. Uh-huh. Imagine that. Right? But he was real instrumental in promoting our music to the young people. And I really think that if we do those things that I think, this is just, dude, I'm just a guy with an opinion.
Yeah, we all are.
I'm just a guy that has an opinion. I don't know it all. I don't profess to know that this is just my opinion, right? Like everybody could have their own opinion. And so I think if we do that, I'm an eternal dreamer. And I think that we're gonna have a good movement looking forward if we do those things. If we can expand our genre of music with just better lyrical content and better songs, then why can't Tejano be accepted by all Mexicanos? Right? Think about that. Right?
Sure.
Why can't it be something that Mexicanos go, I like that music?
But Mexicanos do love Tejano. I think
No. Not across the board. I'm sorry.
But in Monterrey?
Yes, bro, but Monterrey's one city, Bumper. But Mexico's a country.
So let me ask you, when you go to Mexico,
yes,
and Bobby Pulido shows up to San Luis Potosí, is he a regional Mexican artist?
No,
or is he a Tejano
always
artist?
Look at me as Tejano. Always. And I say that.
For all the people in the back, way in the back that think differently?
I do. They don't know me as anything else, bro. Because how can I lie about what I am? I am a Tejano. And before we get the whole thing about what a musical genre, that is who I am, right? I am a Texan. My great-grandmother was born in Yorktown, Texas. Her mother was born in Brownsville, Texas. My great-great-grandmother. And so I have my roots really ingrained here
into Texas.
And my grandmother, may she rest in peace, who we lost a year ago, a little over a year ago, knew English and Spanish, preferred to speak Spanish. Her mother knew English and Spanish, preferred to speak Spanish. If that's not being proud of who you are and where you come from, I don't know what it is, right? And that doesn't mean that you're only going to speak Spanish. No. We got to learn English too, because we're proud to be Americans.
Yeah, we are.
And we're proud to be Texans. Why can't we learn both? And why can't we also be proud of our culture and promote our culture in a classy way and give them good music and really, really be a salespeople for our music and our culture around the globe. And now we can do it, bro, because we have social media. You know,
It's a simple click.
True story, Bumper, true story. I was in Mexico City about 2 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I don't know. I went to an Oxxo, right? Because over there's like, I don't know, Stripes or whatever. Like what would be the equivalent of that?
A QT.
Yeah, right. And I go, and the dude that's behind the counter at the Oxxo is playing Hometown Boys, bro. And I'm like this.
And what town? Where were you at?
Mexico City, bro. And I'm like, whoop, and I go, ¿dónde estás escuchando eso? And he goes, es mi teléfono. ¿Te gusta? Me encanta. And I went, son muy buenos, ¿verdad? A mí me gusta. Sí, muy buenos. Mexico City, bro. But
that's crazy, man.
So we're going to use, we have a lot of things at our disposal. We just got to give them a reason to listen. That's it. Let's promote good music. Let's get good songs. Let's be proud of who we are. Let's stop hating on each other. Let's work together. Let's do things with each other. And let's make it happen.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Again, Bobby, I knew tonight having you here, you know, I agree in everything that you said. And that's why I was really looking forward to this. No. How can I challenge something that I agree with wholeheartedly? Okay, right? Cool, you know, and having you here again, for me, it is an honor, dude. It is an honor to have Bobby Pulido here with me in something that I started for just the love of music, man. Like I literally just started this honestly just bullshitting. Like I tell Gary Hobbs all the time, we're just shooting the shit. Right? We're just shooting the shit. Like, you know, I don't have a script. I'm not I come here and I talk from the heart because I want people. And most of the time I ask stuff that I know other people would like to know, right? I mean, you can go and Google Bobby Pulido. He has a Wikipedia. You can go on there and it has from when you started, how you started, what song came out, what album came. You can do all that, but you're not going to hear the stories that you just said.
No, not at all.
Right? You'll never hear the story of Bobby Pulido having to quit as a second string quarterback as a seventh grader in Edinburgh, Texas. He had to eat and no more.
Dad made me quit.
Right?
Yeah.
Before I forget, I want to give a big shout out to Dolores Martinez and the Brown Plaza Association and Del Rio, Texas. Those guys are always supporting Tejano music and Tejano groups, so big shout out to them. And then, Bobby, also, if you could just do me this huge favor, there is a little girl from the state of Florida, right, that did everything she could to get you for her quinceañera, but, you know, we're in a recession and times are hard, right? Yeah. And so her favorite song is of course Desvelado. But if you could just wish her, she's a good friend of, you were talking about Moyo, right? So Moyo's sidekick is always in Florida, has always been my good friend Manny B, right? Manny Bentz. So this is his daughter. His daughter's name is Jasleen, and she's turning 16. And if you could just wish her a happy birthday.
Jasleen. Where did I look at?
Right there, right here. This one.
Jasleen, hi. This is Bobby Pulido. Voy desvelado por estas calles esperando encontrar a esa voz de ángel que quiero amar. Y yo seguiré desvelado y sin amor. Have a happy birthday.
Wow. Well, chingado, my birthday's next one. No te crees, Bob.
Toma, cabrón, toma.
You know, I just, you know, Bobby, again, man, I can't say how much of an honor it is for me to have you here because of, one, what I told you earlier about being in the military, and I really find a connection with you. Not that I don't with other artists, but I really find a connection with you because we're right around the same age, and it's kind of like, as I was going to the Marine Corps, you were going in the industry, right? And I'd always revert to a Bobby Pulido song, and it would just always take you back.
Bumper. A lot of ups and downs.
For sure.
Same here. And there's we're human, dude. I'm a human. I've got sick. I got a divorce. Get divorced is not easy. Especially if you want to keep the peace and you want everything to be okay. It's still not easy. So there's been things in my life that happened that kind of like derail you a little bit from what you're doing. And times that are tough, right? We all go through them. You know, I one time rode with an artist from a band that's very famous in Mexico. They're an older band. And we were flying to El Paso. And I'm kind of starstruck because I'm sitting next to him and I'm asking him, like, well, how do you do in this market? How do you do in this market? And they were a really successful band. Really successful. But they made it seem like
they were the king of the
wherever
they go. Yeah,
wherever they stepped foot, there was packed, right? That night we had a great turnout, and I found out later that they didn't. And it made me really think about, it doesn't matter how big of an artist you are, you've had gigs that are not that good. Well, not that many people, for whatever reason. You can't get down on that. Gotta keep plugging along. And as long as you can say you have a lot more successful events than not, then you did pretty good. And so I'll tell all the people that are here that are musicians, don't get down. Get to work. And keep searching for that hit, because it will change your life. It changed my life. I've been very blessed to have several songs that are eternal. And I say that in the most humblest way.
Yeah.
But they have blessed my life so much that I'm able to now, spend time with my son Remy, spend time with my little one Rodrigo. My son Trey got into UT film school at University of Texas. He'll be going next year. Darian just graduated from UTSA. I'm able to spend time with my family because I'm able to make enough money
to do that,
to do all those things through music, because I got lucky. And luck is a big part of it. But I also busted my ass to look for those hits. And don't stop. Don't stop. Just keep going. Because sooner or later, we need you. We need all of the musicians out there to make good, creative, interesting music. And we'll never tell you that's not Tejano. You do it.
You guys heard it right here. I was gonna stop where I usually do when we're at the end of the show. I give a mic. You got the mic, Bobby. You can say whatever you want. Unos saludos. Thank you. There you go.
I can't drop this mic.
You can't. No. Don't drop that mic. Don't drop that mic. But you know what? To every viewer that we got that's never seen Bumper's Wacky Wednesday, man, I know the name really throws off a lot of people. And for like after the first year and a half, I wanted to change the name
to Loco Wednesday.
Well, to Loco Wednesday, just something that was Tejano based. Like I really wanted to change the name because it was like Bumper's Wacky Wednesday. Like, that has nothing to do with cultura. Like anything you preach, it doesn't go, it goes against the grain, right? And so I asked some of my friends, my artists, like, you'd be stupid. Like, just leave it alone. Like, people know that. Like, it is what it is, right? And if they know who you are, they know what you're going to be talking about.
Line of work, content is everything. Content is king.
There you go.
It's like us in music. The song is our content. As long as you have good content here, this show will thrive. As long as you have good content.
That's good, man. Hey, so guys, I got to keep up with the good content, and I don't want, to everybody watching on behalf of Bobby Pulido, this is your first time watching the show. We do this every single Wednesday. We might have an artist that you grew up with. We might have an artist that's brand new. We might have an artist that's been around 2 years and maybe you've heard a song and you haven't heard from them in a while. Hey, give them your attention, man, because that's how we're going to continue to grow this genre. Your Bumper's Wacky Wednesday, we like to say we like to keep Tejano relevant. That's what I'm doing. I want to keep our cultura and our music relevant and in your face and let you know that we're thriving. We're still doing what we need to do. And it can only get better if you guys, it's you, the fans, to go out and support the artists, support the venues. All those things matter. We have to, it's up to us. But one of the most important things that I never really talk about, Bobby touched on it tonight, but I want to tell the people watching, show our cultura to our kids. And if you don't have kids, to your nephews, to your nieces, right? Take away those phones. When you're eating breakfast in the morning, if you live in the Corpus Christi area, you're watching Domingo Live. If you're in the Valley, whatever your shows are in your areas, right? I'm just using that as an example. Radio stations, whatever. I always remember Tejano music, like when your mom would get up to start cleaning and you would hear that music, you'd be like, damn, I'm going to get up and start cleaning, right? Make that part of your life, right? That's who we are. That's who we are. Don't forget who we are, man. At the end of the day, do not forget who we are. Bobby, from the bottom of my heart, man, I want to thank you, brother, for coming up to San Antonio and blessing me with your presence. Tony, Tony's a good friend of mine, and he's just always been so upfront and honest with me. And Tony, thank you, man. Thank you for helping us make this happen.
Thank you for asking good questions. I know the last time I saw you in the show, I told you when I said, I'm going to go, but you better ask me good questions.
Yeah, you did. And you know what, Bob, when you said, you were on our good friend Rock and Roll James, and you're like, Bob, I haven't forgot about you. I'm going to do your show. That right there for me was like, hell yeah, Bobby remembered me, man. Like he remembered, talking about. And what people don't know, I don't have the picture. I should have brought the picture. But the last time I saw Bobby Pulido live was here in San Antonio. Front stage, right there with my wife.
That big ass hat on there.
Dude. So
I look like a tachuela, man. I look like you're better.
Me and Bobby switch hats, and Bobby's like, hey, bro, I don't do that cholo shit. I'm like, well, tonight you are. So he put on his hat, but he made it look good. He pushed it to the back. He actually looked good in it. You look good in that fedora.
Shut up.
Bob, you look good in that fedora, bro.
No, I wear boots. When we're talking about boots and a fedora, don't go. No, man, that's for you. That's
God.
That's all you.
Yeah, but to everybody who watched on YouTube, everybody that watched on Facebook, thank you guys so much. This is the content we're going to continue to bring you. Next week, we got a conjunto coming in here into the studio, Conjunto Romo. If you guys never heard of them, they're a great conjunto right here, local here from the San Antonio area. So they're going to be in the studio, so make sure you guys stop by. Next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And everybody who watched outside the state of Texas, I had people messaging me from Mexico, bro, sending me pictures of you and them and concerts, and it was like,
un saludo a los fans del Hueso Colorado.
Yeah, they were like, hey, yo soy un fan de México y me encanta que vas a hacer una entrevista con Bobby Pulido. Todos estábamos esperando, and I'm like, wow. See what you do, Bobby? You open the show to now I gotta go learn more Spanish, bro.
It's never
that's
too
not
late
a bad
to
thing.
learn, bro.
That's
not
right.
a bad thing,
That's
bro.
not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. So again, to everybody who watched on YouTube, on Facebook, thank you guys so much. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Make sure you follow Bumper Gomez on Facebook and subscribe to Bumper's Wacky Wednesday on Facebook Live. And it'll give you hit the little bell. It'll tell you every time that we go live. So Bobby, thank you, man.
You got it, bro.
I appreciate it.
We'll be seeing you next month.
Next month, we'll be seeing you again. So remember, Tejano Mundial, right here. He's going to be there. So
February
make sure, February 8th is the award show. So
We'll
make
see
sure
you
you
there.
guys are there. It's going to be a good time, hosted by myself and my good friend Tori. A good thank you to my producer. I don't know if he's going to be back next week. I hope he is, because I don't want to move all this shit again.
Give him more liquor. Give him more liquor, bro.
Get him more liquor and some pizza.
And some
Tony,
pizza.
thank you. Right, to your son, gracias, man. Thank you for hanging out with us. And to everybody who watched tonight, thank you so much. We had great views on YouTube and on Facebook. I really, really appreciate that. We'll see you guys next Wednesday right here, Conjunto Romo. You guys have a good